Hello and welcome back everyone to another pre-recorded lesson video. I know it has been a while. It's because Friday, I usually like giving y'all Friday as a free day to catch up on assignments and stuff in this class and other classes. And Monday, sort of gave y'all, or not Monday, Tuesday or yesterday, I gave y'all a little bit of a surprise by introducing the Renaissance testing. Sorry I didn't give y'all any warning before, but the scores are coming in and they look pretty good so far. So great job. So just so we can catch up a little bit to where we really should be at, I'm going to combine lesson 5 and 6 together for this video. So this one's going to be a little bit longer than usual, okay? So bear with me, make sure you're paying attention, and try to take notes if you can. And always let me know if you have any questions in my email or message me on Schoology, okay? But the focusing question for lesson 5 is, how do the characters in a Midsummer Night's Dream understand love? We should be able to answer this question today because this is the last time we're going to be focusing on this focusing question. And the content framing question for lesson 5 is, what are the central ideas about love in Act 1, Scene 1 of A Midsummer Night's Dream? Lesson 5 is the last time we're going to be going into Act 1, Scene 1, because in lesson 6, we start talking about Act 2, right? So be on the lookout for that. Remember, central ideas is another way of saying main idea or some themes about love, okay? Now, the focusing question for lesson 6 is, what defines the experience of love? We're going to be answering this question for a long time. We're going to be going from lesson 6 all the way to lesson 17. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of time to answer this question. And then the content framing question for lesson 6 is, what's happening with the fairies in Act 2, Scene 1? So we're introducing some new characters in lesson 6, so make sure you pay attention to who those are. But the goal for lesson 5 is to summarize the plot in Act 1, Scene 1, and explain a particular character's point of view on the central ideas of love and marriage. We're going to be focusing on Lysander and Hermia for that. And then the goal for lesson 6 is basically just going to be figuring out exactly what is happening in A Midsummer Night's Dream and who the characters that are being introduced are, okay? So, Lysander and Hermia. I said that we were going to look at Lysander and Hermia and what problems they're facing, how they define the role of love in marriage, like if they think love is important in marriage or if there's something bigger than love that's more important, and the character's view of love, how they view love and the experience of love, right? The experience of love is a really big thing, and we're going to keep coming back to that for the other characters as well. But remember, today we're going to be focusing on Lysander and Hermia. I don't know why it's doing that, but some of the quotes that I wanted to give you a quick example of some problems they're facing, role of love in marriage and view of love. These are the quotes in the viewpoint of Lysander. So for the problems they're facing, this is basically the conflict that they're facing, right? So I chose a quote. Remember, these numbers mean Act 1, Scene 1, line 165. So I put, if thou lovest me then, steal forth thy father's house tomorrow night. What that quote basically means is, if you love me, Hermia, then sneak out of your father's house tomorrow night and let's run away together, right? That's sort of the problem that they're facing. For Hermia, obviously, it's different. It's the choices that she has. But for Lysander, it's basically deciding to run away together, right? Compared to Hermia, Lysander actually has a lot to lose, right? He's rich. He's popular in his city. And he's basically throwing all that away to be able to run away with the love of his life. That's the problem that he's facing. And his viewpoint of role of love in marriage, or if he thinks love is important in marriage, he says, in which is more than all these boasts can be, I am beloved of beauteous Hermia. That is in line 105 of Act 1, Scene 1. And that's pretty early on. That's sort of in the beginning when they're meeting with Theseus and Aegeus, right? So in that quote, he's basically saying, or whenever Aegeus and Theseus are saying, hey, Demetrius is a great guy, Lysander steps in. He's like, hey, I'm tired of y'all saying how great of a guy Demetrius is. I'm just as rich as Demetrius. I'm just as popular. I'm just as good looking. I am everything that Demetrius has, right? And that's what he means by saying, which is more than all these boasts can be. Boast basically means bragging or characteristics, things like that. He says, forget all the other things I have. I have something that Demetrius doesn't have. I am beloved of beauteous Hermia. I am loved by Hermia and I love her, right? I love Hermia and Hermia loves me. That's something Demetrius doesn't have that I have, right? That's basically what he's saying with that. So he finds love very important, right? He finds love very important in marriage. And then the view of love, the quote I chose is from Act 1, Scene 1, line 136. He says, "The course of true love never did run smooth." We've been working with that quote quite a bit. That quote basically just means, hey, love is pretty hard, isn't it? Like, love is hard. There's always going to be obstacles that we have to overcome as a couple. So his view of love is that love takes a lot of work and that you have to constantly work towards it every single day. Okay, that is basically what he is talking about with that quote. And we're going to move on to Hermia and some of the quotes that she's talking about. For Hermia, she basically says, hey, for the problems that they're facing is upon that day, either prepare to die for disobedience to your father's will. That basically means, hey, on that day, prepare to die for not listening to your father's orders, or just marry Demetrius, right? That's basically the three choices that Theseus gives Hermia. That's definitely the biggest problem that she's facing, is either dying or listening to her father. And her view of to saying if love is important in marriage, she says, also pretty early on in line 81, is "So will I grow, so live, so die, my lord, ere I will my virgin patent up." So she's basically saying, I'd rather grow old, I'd rather die than have to marry a man I don't love. Right? She also values love in marriage. She thinks love is the most important thing in a marriage, and that's why you should definitely marry somebody if you love them. Right? If you don't love them, don't marry them. Is basically what she's saying. And she's basically saying, I'd rather die than marry someone I don't love. Right? And then her view of love is found in line 153. It's if then true lovers have been ever crossed, it stands as an edict in destiny. That basically means it is our destiny. It is fate. Whenever true lovers meet, it is our destiny to face obstacles and have problems, right? True lovers will always face problems, right? It's inevitable. It's an obstacle that they have to go through. They can't run away from it, right? And those are basically Lysander's and Hermia's views on love and how they experience love. So I want y'all to just in your head think, according to Lysander, love is an experience that is blank and blank, right? According to Lysander, love is an experience that is blank and blank. Okay, so take some time, think about it, and message me on Schoology or email me if you think you have a really good one, right? But after that, we are going to move on to a quick review. So remember, Aegeus wants Demetrius to marry Hermia, but Hermia loves Lysander, so Aegeus goes to Theseus to force Hermia to marry Demetrius. So Theseus basically goes, hey, Hermia, your father is right. You have to listen to him. So I'm going to give you three choices: marry Demetrius, die, or become a nun, right? So Hermia hates those choices, so she runs away with Lysander, right? That's basically what's happening, and these are the three choices, right? Marry Demetrius, disobey her father, and be killed, or become a nun. Those are terrible choices, so she decides to choose option D, run away with Lysander, right? So as a quick review, I think y'all are doing a really good job so far, especially from those quiz grades. I think y'all are understanding exactly what's happening in Act 1, Scene 1. So we're going to move on to Act 2, Scene 1. Act 2, Scene 1. So these are the new characters that get introduced. Number 1 is Oberon. He's the king of the fairies. He's Titania's husband. And he actually cheats on Titania with Hippolyta, which gets a little bit interesting. And Titania is the queen of the fairies. She's Oberon's wife. And she cheats on Oberon with Theseus, right? And then there's Puck that gets introduced, a.k.a. Robin Goodfellow, a.k.a. Hobgoblin. He goes by a lot of different names in this play, but it's mostly Robin Goodfellow or Puck. He's Oberon's sidekick, right? He whatever Oberon wants, Puck goes and gets it for him, okay? And he is a troublemaker. He causes problems a lot, okay? And the next is the Changeling, right? That's Titania's foster son. Titania has a best friend that's human. She ends up dying, and she leaves her son behind. So think of Titania as his aunt, and a lot of the problems comes from the little kid, okay? And we will go into that later. So what are fairies? Some fairies are getting introduced. We just saw King of Fairies and Queen of Fairies, right? So fairies are a magical or mythical being, often found in a lot of stories in the past. They come from a lot of European cultures, and they're magical, right? Some famous fairies could be like Tinkerbell, maybe like the Cinderella, like those type of fairies, things like that, okay? So just think of them as magical beings. So, a character summary of Puck, or Robin Goodfellow, the Hobgoblin. He's a massive character. That's sort of a picture of what he looks like in history. There's all of those are different names for the same character. So if you see Puck, Hobgoblin, and Robin Goodfellow, they're all talking about the same character, right? And he's a well-known creature in history, and he's sometimes described as evil because he causes a lot of problems, right? So how does Shakespeare introducing this character set the tone for the rest of the book, right? How does Shakespeare introducing this little troublemaker set the tone for the rest of the book? In my opinion, I think it sets the tone by making the audience basically saying, hey, there's going to be some trouble coming, right? This character causes a lot of problems, and we're introducing him to cause problems, right? So maybe it's foreshadowing that this scene will include characters being tricked or misled, right? Audience members will expect Robin to unsettle things, cause problems, right? And the audience will be waiting for him to make mischief or trouble. So the illusion creates a tone of suspense. So we're all waiting to see what type of trouble Puck or Robin is going to come up with, okay? So what I want y'all to do is look through these lines 1 through 150 if you have the book, lines 1 through 130 if you're using the online copy, okay? So remember, it's Act 2, Scene 1. If you have the online copy, lines 1 to 130. Or just watch this video, okay? So do that for me and come back to this video. Okay, welcome back. So I want y'all to think, what is the situation that is happening, right? What is the situation that is happening in that little excerpt from Act 2, Scene 1? So what's happening so far is Robin is talking to a fairy in the beginning, right? Robin basically identifies the problem that's going on in this scene. Robin explains that King Oberyn and Queen Titania are fighting, right? Every time the king and queen meet, they fight. They can't help but fight. They love fighting. And the problem is about the possession of a child that they each want, right? Remember that little changeling, Titania's foster son? They're arguing about who gets to keep that kid, okay? That's basically the problem of the whole Act 2, Scene 1. And we're going to keep going into it, okay? But I want to look at the role and relationships of Oberyn and Queen Titania, right? These are the two biggest characters that are getting introduced. They're literally the king and the queen of their little world. Okay, so Oberyn, he's a fairy king, right? King of the fairies. He has Robin, or Puck, for his servant and entertainment, sort of his sidekick. And he wants the little boy, the foster boy, to be his new page. Page basically means a servant or a slave, right? He sort of wants a second Puck or second Robin to do everything that he tells him to do. He plays the pipes. He loves different women, right? Like the Amazon Queen Hippolyta. He cheats on Titania a lot. That is why they argue so much as well. That is a big reason why they argue so much. He's married to Titania, but they're currently separated, right? They're not really together, but they're still married. And he expects Titania to obey him as her lord, right? Oberyn's like, hey, I'm the king. You should definitely be listening to everything I say. But, Titania does not, right? And it drives him crazy. So some stuff about Titania, right? She's a fairy queen. She's married to Oberyn, but currently separated. She loves Theseus, right? Hippolyta's fiance, Theseus, the one that gave Hermia the 3 choices, loves Theseus. She fights with Oberyn and will not do as he says. She's sort of a rebel, right? She does not listen to anything Oberyn tells her to do. She was friends with an Indian woman who died, and that Indian woman gave birth to that little changeling that they both want. Invites Oberyn to join her, even though they were fighting, right? Titania still sort of wants to fix this relationship a little bit, but Oberyn is just the worst about it, okay? So some adjectives that describe Oberyn and Titania. Remember, adjectives are words that describe nouns, right? So some adjectives for Oberyn is he's angry. He's always angry. He's jealous. He's jealous of Titania. He's jealous of of Titania and Theseus, right? He is jealous, which makes no sense because he cheats on Titania a lot too. And he is selfish, right? He does not care about anyone else but himself, right? If he does not benefit from anything, then he won't do it. Adjectives of Titania, she's very proud, right? She's loving. She takes care of her best friend's friend like it's her own. She's rebellious. She does not listen to what Oberyn tells her to do at all. She does her own thing, right? She's rebellious. So I want y'all to reread lines 62 to 78. How would you describe Oberyn and Titania's feelings about each other? Some of the things that I put was Oberyn says Titania is proud and a rash wanton, which means a foolish rebel. He thinks she should obey him because he is her lord. Titania says Oberyn is jealous. She won't keep his company because he has been wooing other women, right? She won't be with Oberyn because he keeps cheating on her. Titania says Oberyn recently sat versing love to Philida. Titania also refers to the Amazon Queen Hippolyta as Oberyn's warrior love, right? Oberyn is constantly cheating on her. Philida and Hippolyta are just two other women that he cheats on Titania with. And Oberyn says Titania is not faithful either, right? Titania cheats on him too. She has feelings for Theseus, right? Oberyn tells Titania by saying, I know that love to Theseus. Basically, he's basically in that sentence is saying, I know you love Theseus. How are you? Why are you judging me when you're cheating on me too? So they don't have a very happy relationship, right? Now I want to go into lines 121 to 142. Why are Oberyn and Titania arguing? Oberyn wants a little changeling boy, right? He wants a little boy for himself. But Titania won't give him to Oberyn because, we'll go into it. Oberyn wants the boy to be his henchman or a page or a slave or a servant, which is like a servant or attendant, okay? But Titania will not give the boy to Oberyn because he is the son of her good friend, a human who died, right? So think of Titania as the little boy's aunt, sort of like a Tia, okay? Of lesson 6. I didn't really want to give a little assignment for this one. I'm still debating on if I should give an assignment out, especially with Renaissance testing. So when you're watching this video and there's no assignment uploaded with it, then just assume that there is no assignment for lesson 5 and 6. Okay. But other than that, lesson 5 and 6 was basically closing Act 1, Scene 1, and sort of introducing the new characters we're going to be reading about in Act 2, especially Oberyn and Titania. So if you have any questions about what we just went over today, please email me or message me on Schoology. But other than that, I will see you all here for the next lesson video. Bye.